looks like Complexity will be playing the support Naga Siren with Ember Spirit as their final pickup. We'll see who's playing what here. Maybe it's Swindle on the Ember mid, Ziz on the Clink safe lane, and Moon Meander off lane on the Darkseer. Time will tell. For Fnatic, well, they've got plenty of time to think about this final pick. They'll need their mid laner here from Mushi. And he goes with Zeus. All right, the Thunder God things out. Interesting drop from Fnatic. Lacking on control. They've got some good team fighters, but the Earthshaker is their only lockdown.
You could kind of think of Tombstone as that, but it is going to be a support Undying with Johnny playing that. So
yeah, a 5 at that. Johnny plays super sacrificial 5 in most games.
Even more than a Dazzle, really?
Often,
I feel like as an Undying, you need at least a little bit of farm to be useful.
Yeah, then that's kind of the point that I'm making. Like with their breakdown, he is one of the he's down there with like FNG in terms of farm distribution.
Wow.
Where they play a true 5 and a true 4 rather than 2 4.5. So it's interesting to see him taking the Undying rather than the Dazzle.
Yeah, interesting, definitely. Ember Spirit pick for Complexity. Very good versus PL, so I think that's a good last pick. This almost means for sure we're going to have a Lina support and an Naga support, especially with the Clink. So this one, it'll be a mid-Ember versus a Zeus, which I think is a decent... It's pretty good for Zeus, I think. It's good for both. I would say the... I
haven't seen that matchup too much.
The Zeus is easier to gank, I feel, because he can't escape very well, and but at the same time, you can kill Flame Guard very, very easily with Zeus.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. And he can get rid of the Flame Guard, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I think it does come down to rotations more than just that heads-up match.
And interestingly, he actually goes for a Stout Shield Star. We don't see that very often in mid-heroes, but it will block a lot of the damage that Zeus does try to throw out, and he's got a Magic Stick, so it basically means that Ember Spirit, I feel like, should be able to lane this as aggressively as he wants to. The only downside is he can't just consistently farm with Flame Guard, because Zeus does so much magic damage that he will be able to break that, and that's the main damage source of Ember Spirit. So I think it'll be an okay matchup for both, honestly. They'll probably just passively farm is the way to go, and we'll see if that ends up being the case.
Okay, so it is a core shaker here. It looks like Ohio is the off-lane player. He'll take the Earthshaker. Johnny on the Undying. A 2-1-2 from Fnatic. Mushi mid on the Zeus. No surprise there. Kechi Gimba, he'll be on the Shadow Priest Dazzle, and that leaves KYXY on the safe lane Phantom Lancer.
So the large camp is blocked. This is from the Dire lane, actually. And this may seem a little weird, like why would they block their own large camp? But that's because the Radiant offlane has an advantage by being able to do side pulls. So if they block that with the Sentry, those first couple levels aren't there, and there's no way for Complexity's Moon Meander to grab extra levels. And especially with the Darkseer, it's extra scary, because he just throws an Iron Shell on a creep, and oftentimes he can clear that whole wave, and sometimes the neutrals.
Yeah. And how will Complexity lane this? Did they do a 2-1-2 themselves? It seems so. Z-Freak going in, pokes them with an early Riptide. He'll be joined by Moon Meander here in the off lane. And for now, Fly's lingering around mid on the Lina. We'll probably see him spend most of his time down bottom supporting Ziz, but already looking to pressure Mushi if they can. Fly hasn't skilled anything up quite yet, but we'll just head right up to the high ground, gets the LSA, and they're going to make Mushi's life very difficult here.
This is especially hard because he only had 2 shared tangos, so Mushi can't even trade hits, and they have the same armor, they have about the same HP, and Lina hits slightly harder, so not a good trade for Mushi there, and just really happy for Swindlemon, so he's able to get 3 of those CS. So
he does already get a kill with the Arc Lightning, though, so his bottle is on the way out. It's not all bad for the Zeus.
Definitely a little bit better there. He's actually, is he going to be able to snipe this courier? He knows, if he actually went straight for it, he had a chance maybe, but Mushi backed up a little bit and received the bottle. So bottle's out, and now Fly is, I don't know, I feel like you might as well just go back to the safe lane. Yeah. So this is being completely zoned here by Johnny on the Undying. Like, he just casted a triple decay. He can't trade hits. Ziz has maximum 245 HP. That's like a 5-hit. So they definitely need Fly to get back to the bot lane and help zone.
Definitely. Up top, we're seeing a lot of damage exchanging with the Dazzle here. They can heal through some of that Ion Shell damage, but this is a decent dual lane, even though it's both melee, Darkseer and Naga Siren. Very tanky early on, pretty high armor across both of them, starting with 6. And they can put out a lot of harassment across the Riptide spam as well as all that Ion Shell damage. So not the easiest lane for PL to find farm, even though he is 5-0 already.
How often do you see like a free farm Earthshaker? It's so weird.
Not very often.
But it's done with the purpose of limiting the Clinks' farm, not as much guaranteeing the Earthshakers. But I'm sure Earthshaker's really happy about this too. And he's even got an early Stout Shield, something that we never see on an Earthshaker, but great against Alina as well as a Clinks. So I think the lane setup worked out a bit better for Fnatic here, because the carry got almost no farm The Clink's at 2 CS, just hitting 3 now. Barely any farm in comparison to the mid, where Zeus is still doing fine at 10, so slightly disadvantageous lane setup there.
So, Kechikimba here just trying to pull if he can. Moon Meander being an irritant, giving Naga some space in the lane to absorb some XP. I think Complexity have plenty of tools to deal with the Phantom Lancer this game. Oh, wait, hold that thought. Ziz possibly in some trouble here. They've already got a Sentry Ward down, so he does need to be careful. LSA from Fly is on point, and they are laying in some damage. Those Searing Arrows starting to add up. Fissure almost. He was on the other side of it. I think he's certainly dead there.
And a Magic Wand there to use at the perfect time by Ziz, and the last Decay does not get the kill. Johnny is actually quite limited on mana here.
Up top, Kechikimba could be in trouble. He's gone for this greedy build, didn't skill Grave, but I don't think they know it. If they had that intel, Moon would have been much more tempted to dive that one.
I feel like they could have figured that out because he's only level 2, and they probably saw the Poison Touch come out.
Maybe he did use it. Maybe he just didn't want to dive it. Would have been a very close call, though.
Yeah, he very likely would have died afterwards. koXY taking a lot of damage, opted for the early Ring of Regen. I'm going to assume this is building into something like a Vlad's, perhaps. The early Vlad's build is a possibility for PL, but doesn't really build into a whole lot else that he's going to want. He doesn't want Tranquils. So Soaring, maybe. Probably a Vlad's, though.
Soul Ring PL could be a possibility. You see it on occasion. Not sure if it's the best investment early on for him.
He could also just sell this Ring of Regen at some point, because he definitely needs some extra regen against the Ion Shell that he's taking so much damage from.
Yeah. Never ideal to sell items back, but that is definitely an underrated strategy if you can pick up just a casual cloak or a casual ring like that. It's a pretty small investment, and you can get 50% back. Oftentimes you can find... what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Value out of that, I suppose.
Okay. I was like, surely it doesn't mean value. That's the obvious word. That's the Grave TP
value,
Dazzle. And he'll be able to get out, costing him a TP, and most importantly, also allowing them to really pressure koXY here. And Z-Freak actually going a slightly different Naga build, going for the Max Riptide. A lot of Nagas will just skip that out entirely, but you know, with that, he's able to pressure a lot harder, and they really do have the dual lane advantage here. Darkseer plus Naga, both very tanky, with some minus armor, and the Ensnare as well can really guarantee some kills. And look at that Ion Shell alone on the... That's so cool. It kills the creeps. The last hits go to Moon, who wants the farm, but Z-Freak gets the experience. So, despite them being on opposite ends here of the sandwich, so to speak, on the Phantom Lancer, they both get so many resources.
They want to go into koXY here, but there's going to be a fight in the mid while this is going down. They're trying to dive Mushi, but they can't quite get him. Back up top, they'll go into koXY. Nowhere for him to go. He does have a doppelganger, but it's only level 1.
Oh, good Fissure.
Beautiful Fissure indeed. Kechikimba is nearby. He's already used his Grave to make it out, and it's still on cooldown from before.
Oh, this dual lane is so good.
First one drawn by Moon Meander. Kechikimba now on the run. He will have that Grave in just a couple of seconds. Moon Meander going to continue to commit here. But the ult from Zeus brings them both down. Now Swindle coming in for the cleanup. Can he bring down the Dazzle?
Oh, great.
He's going to bottle through the Flame Guard. Ohio, he wants to try to finish this off. The DOT's doing some damage, but it's Fnatic that come out big. A 3-for-1. First blood goes to Complexity, but Mushi with the perfectly timed ult.
That was such good plays from Fnatic there. Even though the Mango from Earthshaker to get the Fissure off afterwards, like, Swindlemelons was absolutely sure he was going to kill that Dazzle, and the Enchant Totem slowed him down, and then to punish it worse, the Fissure stun afterwards. Such sick plays from Fnatic there. That just looked like Complexity was about to stomp on them with the double Ion Shell chase. This dual lane is so smart, but it actually didn't work out for them, surprisingly.
Yeah. And as we were talking about, both these heroes in the offlane for Complexity have pretty high EHP early on, so they're very well suited for this. This is so easy for Z-Freak, and an extra point in the Riptide with the Poor Man's Shield, he can just tank those creeps and rinse and repeat. Mid lane, Swindlemelons initiated on. Ohio tries to block him out with the Fissure. There will be a race for the Rune, and it will be picked up by the Dazzle. Swindle, though, staying aggressive here. He has a rotation from the Naga Siren, and they will change their minds and just head back to the lane.
Yeah, he forced the Dazzle to grab it at least, so that Zeus didn't grab the Invis, and very quickly Johnny grabbed the bounty in the bot lane, probably because Mushi wasn't going to want to walk all the way down there, so he just starts off the bottle crane, no big surprise, and Complexity continues their cutting of creeps on the top lane. And
there is a silver lining, I suppose, for Complexity here, is that Ziz is now getting a lot of space in that safe lane, because they pulled so many rotations up top. He's now number 2 on the CS chart overall, and he started off pretty low. Now Ohio, he walks right into Moon. He's got the Tranquil Boots, but they'll be broken. Now caught by the Ensnare. They don't want to commit for this as there's a lot of movement coming towards these two heroes. All 5 of Fnatic starting to make their way over. Mushi will head back to the mid lane, but now Z-Freak gets surged up by Moon. He won't have it for himself. Another fissure will be coming up in just a couple seconds here. Can Ohio find the angle to block out Moon Meander? Good positioning from Moon, trying to move around it, but he will get blocked out, and he is certainly going to fall. Nice gank there from Fnatic, but was it really 4 heroes just getting the Darkseer? Is this a worthy trade-off, Purge?
I mean, Ziz was farming during this, but maybe not entirely. I saw him grab a neutral creep and run towards the river, maybe thinking about going mid, but I haven't seen his CS go up a huge amount, so I think he did spend some time in the jungle, and I think that's still going to be worth it for Fnatic, because it is creating space. His dual lane pressure is not going as well as they want it to, and it's frankly going a lot worse than I thought it would. Those first couple kills were really the trade-off there. It's either they get those 2 kills and they get away alive, or the punish happens and now the dual lane becomes less and less effective and they limit their places to farm.
Yeah, Mushi's still #1 on the net worth chart. That early double kill making his life so much easier. He has the early arcane boots and now another 1,000 gold just sitting in that savings account. Johnny now rotates up to the top lane. They really want to deal with this dual lane from Complexity, and boy are they. The tombstone comes down. Z-Freak will be surged, try and run away. Moon will have to linger around a little bit longer, but he'll be safe, at least for now.
I'm kind of surprised he's still standing here killing creeps. This looked really dangerous for him. They do have an observer ward down, so that they're going to be able to at least see Mushi rotate if he does commit to that. But the surge alone, if only 1 hero is in danger, they always save them, which is pretty cool. Oh, great heal there on the creep wave. Very
aggressive wards here from Complexity in general, all around the jungle, the lane, and that rotation from mid. Moon's now going to have to run for it. He takes a poison touch, also gets hit by a decay. He'll survive, and while we're looking at that, the Clinks actually gets killed here in the mid lane. Ohio getting credit for that one. Not really sure why he rotated out of the bottom lane, first of all, given that there is some space to be farmed, but yeah, missed that one, unfortunately.
I mean, him killing Clinks, or killing the Zeus is definitely possible, because Zeus is limited. He doesn't have an escape from it, so really they would just need a Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains, and about 4 attacks from Clinks to kill him. So it's definitely possible, but the setup must have been poor or something, because he actually died to the right of the tower, so maybe he was trying to poke in and got spotted by Fissure, initiated. I'm not sure. We'd have to watch it.
Yeah, possibly. Moon forced to surge away. Long range Lance will hit him, but he'll make it out. Okay. So Complexity just goes back to splitting the lanes. They'll give Fly some space. And this is one thing Complexity does really well in these lanes, is whenever someone leaves, the supports are right there to come in and soak it up. And Fly will find level 6 after another creep wave or so. Ohio smoked up, coming around the backside. Moon very low. There's the ult from Mushi. Great setup from Fnatic. Ohio will still walk through the tower, takes the ensnare, and then will TP home. Z-Freak will stay alive, but another kill on this Darkseer. That puts Moon now 1-3 in KDA.
And Mushi doesn't even have that many last hits. He's at 37-4, but he's got a Midas at 9 minutes 45 seconds. And if your team does get things done on the map and you're able to steal those kills with the Thunder God's Wrath, it just helps you more and more. Undying die in the bot lane though.
Yeah, nothing too crazy there. Just a dive behind the tower. This is where Clinks hits one of his peaks in terms of power. The maxed out Searing Arrows is very scary in these early levels.
Yeah, 60 physical damage. It's like having a Sacred Relic, basically. It's amazing.
It's incredible. So, not much the Undying could do there, as he is a support. Catch a Kimba. Sees the ensnare. Knows there's no way to interrupt the TP. Swindle almost gets there in time with the Searing Chains. Very close call, but Dazzle will live.
He jumped slightly late there, in my opinion. Might have made the difference, but it was a very tough catch anyways.
Yeah.
So,
looks like it will be a Vlad's first with a PL, though. He's now gone for the Bassi and the headdress.
It's good against Ember Spirit going into the late game as well, because it just gives your team 5 more armor. It's an extra chainmail that your team will block damage for the Sleight of Fist, and the earlier you get it, the more it helps.
Soloed by Ziz in the mid lane. Again, it was just like the Undying down bottom. Ziz comes behind him, unloads with the strafe, Searing Arrows, and there's nothing the Zeus can do. He's got Arcane Boots Midas. Once you're initiated on in that kind of a forward position, you're completely dead.
And the Midas not paying off there, basically. Like, it gives him some golden regen, but what if you went for the Bloodstone build instead? Kind of similar. It gives you unlimited mana, so you can farm faster, technically, but Smoke Breaking actually here in the jungle. Will they grab Johnny?
Oh, Fly, he gets the surge. They want to try to initiate here. Unfortunate for Complexity, they were not ready for the Undying to break their smoke straight away. Mushi will pick up a smoke of his own. pardon me, perhaps Fnatic will try some kind of an aggressive play of their own.
Check out these sentries on the map by Fnatic. They absolutely do not want Complexity to have wards in their jungle. They've committed 4 over the last 3 minutes just to make sure. They must have missed a bunch. They eventually found the aggressive one, and they killed them all. They've seen the previous games. He's spotting out his opponent. So there's the Medallion on Johnny. 3-shot. Oh, he stops attacking for a second. There's the Great as well. At about 200 HP, going low. He's going to die for sure.
Both of them are going down here. Ketchikimba doesn't have much of an exodus. He'll go down first.
Echo.
Big Echo Slam from Ohio on 3, but Complexity are still alive for now. Ziz is dusted up, though. He's on the run. He's not going to make it out as Zeus has the damage to bring him down. A 2 for 2 overall. Swindle Melon's just barely surviving. Zeus getting that domination streak from Clinks. So a lot of gold going the way of Mushi off that fight.
Despite his earlier death, he's still in a great place. He'll grab his point booster now, most likely. I think he's going to go Bloodstone. He might need a fast Ghost Scepter or maybe a Yule Scepter to stop the Clinks from solo killing him, but definitely needs to tank up and needs some survivability to stay alive.
Yeah, Mushi's still #1 on net worth. This seems to be working out. It's easy to underestimate how much damage Zeus does at this stage in the game. Even when Complexity have an advantage, the ulti alone, if you can combo it with anything that the Surfshaker puts out, it is scary. Great Echo from Ohio, though. Beautiful positioning, connecting on 3 heroes. Easier said than done at these early levels when you don't have any mobility tools.
They deward another aggressive ward from Complexity. Like, Fnatic has completely read this, and they just always see where the wards are coming, and they drop sentries.
There are 0 wards on the map right now for Complexity. This is a rough time here.
And it's kind of weird to see the sacrifice. Normally you think like, wow, they spent so many hundreds of gold on those sentries, but it forces their opponents into bad aggressive positions that result in them dying. And it's only happening because their vision is lacking, so they can't make as good of decisions. It's paying off completely, and it'll eventually translate to more gold for the supports.
Ziz still having a pretty good time, though. #2 on net worth, only a few hundred behind that of the Zeus. You mentioned that Medallion pickup. Pretty core on Clinks these days as we see Fnatic smoke around the bottom lane. They're going to try to gank this Clinks here, who's in a very forward position. Do they have detection? Yes, they do. Dust on the Earthshaker and a sentry on the Dazzle.
Get this. Zeus, they see that he's completely by himself. He doesn't think he's being ganked. There's a dust enchant on him. He wasn't watching behind himself. And there, that's the one place you don't expect your opponents to come from, that's for sure. From behind you while you're pushing a tower.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they'll just retreat towards the mid lane here, and the Tombstone was deployed for that, so they won't have that for a minute if Complexity try to pressure this tier 1 tower here in the mid lane. Already Naga Siren coming in to cut off the creep wave. Z-Freak is now level 8, so that means Song of the Siren is ready to rock and roll, and Complexity can afford to be a little more aggressive here and know that they'll have a support ready to reset and secure the retreat if need be.
Ooh, he messed up his Searing Chains.
Yep.
Z-Freak in trouble. He might have to ulti this.
He might have.
He doesn't want to, but he's... Oh, man, he's barely alive. Really didn't want to Song that one.
20 HP. I mean, this time the gamble pays off. He doesn't go down. They don't quite have the damage.
Yeah, very good for him that he didn't waste it. I definitely agree that even if he died there, it was better to not use it, because it's a 3-minute cooldown. For 1 kill, that's not worth it, because it makes your hero so poor. And poor as in, like, your hero does nothing if you don't have Song, because you put all these levels into Riptide and Ensnare, that's great, but he needs to be able to influence teamfights in a major way, and he can't do that without his ult.
Yeah, it's one of those big ultimates, sort of similar to a Nyx Assassin Vendetta, where the threat of it being available is almost scarier than him actually using it. You know, him being off the map and knowing it's off cooldown forces you to play a little more cautiously, and same with that ult.
Exactly, because then Fnatic could just 5-man push with Sentry Wards or something like that, and now they have to continue playing defensive and wait for their opponents to go aggressive. But
Blink Dagger on Ohio, 15 minutes in.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible timing for this Shaker.
He's got 8 assists. He's been in every single team fight and killed this game.
Yep, and 45 CS on top of that.
What the heck? This guy is playing insane. I already knew he was one of the best offlaners in the world, but this game is ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, Ohio is, he's consistently been one of the best offlaners, like you said. I completely agree. Seen so many games where he just makes these incredible plays. His positioning is just unbelievable.
So Clinks is moving back towards the aggressive jungle. Because they didn't get that tier 1 tower, they're in a decent position to go find them. Swindle Melon's looking for heroes with his illusion. He's actually not finding any neutral creeps here. Ziz, that is. He does have some bonus damage left from his ult, but he needs another creep. It's about to run out.
Yeah, Ziz will go for the Desolator build. He's picked up the recipe already, but still pretty far away from his mithril hammers. And how's Swindle doing here? Drum Power Treads. Okay, a little bit different. Going for some extra attack speed, extra stats. And
I think it's good. The extra mana is definitely very, very needed. I feel like a lot of Embers are phasing away from the phase boots, actually. The phase is great for chasing, but you can already do that just by using Fire Remnants. Obviously, if you phase, I think it shoots out faster, maybe, but he's fine with Treads. The Treads is good, and it helps against a single target as well. Phase is really all about abusing Sleight of Fist. Treads is just good for overall damage versus one hero.
Yeah. We talked a lot about how Ember is one of those carries that struggles in terms of mana pool, so having that extra bout of intelligence to swap to can be the make it or break it in those clutch moments. Checking in on Moon Meander here, he's now got the mech secured on his Dark Seer as well as just a casual cloak for now, so all that early farm is paid off for one of Complexity's big teamfight items. I don't believe there's a mech on the Dire. Nope, not even started.
I wonder what the Naga Siren's going to build this game then, because a lot of Naga games we've been seeing either mech or medallion, but there's already a medallion on Klink, so I don't think he'll build one there. I wonder if he will just go for the greedy rush into Radiance, but his skill build doesn't look like that because he hasn't gotten a lot of mirror images, which increase your farming speed. So I'm interested to see. I'm really not sure what he'll grab. Maybe a pipe. He could go pipe, I guess.
I mean, maybe something like Vlad's to help out the team with auras.
You don't need that much physical resistance this game, and yeah, you can give lifesteal to Klinks and Ember Spirit, but I think it's better that he goes pipe if anything, but it's not a very good item for Solutions.
Is going double Solar Crest not worth it? I mean, if he ends up going that, I mean, that's a really common item on Naga. Ziz will probably get one as well. He's already got that medallion.
Oh, they find Mushi. That's a 4-shot. Oh, he pops Yules. It's going to buy him a second, but
still going down.
He's still dead.
His teammates are inbound, though. Ohio does have an Echo Slam. We'll hold it for now. Complexity, they want to get aggressive here. They're ready to chase this down and see if they can find some more. Swindle will have a slight in 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's too hard.
Forced to go to the tower.
That cooldown is way too long there, and he didn't want to go aggressive. He does hit Ohio with some damage, but he's got Tranquils. Oh, medallion comes through. 3-shot on Keswick, but he'll surely grave. There's the grave going down. Weaves will dunk on Ziz. He's in trouble. He gets blown up immediately there. Swindle trying to turn around to help out, but nope, not going to work out. And they just shouldn't have gone for that, I think. There was too much time looking at each other, and they were going to be ready for the initiation, and it did not work out.
Yep. They did get the tier 1 tower, though. It was killed by the Radiant. If Moon was there, I think they could have done a dive like that because he's the mech carrier. But without your mech, that's a pretty risky play.
And he even mechs the creep wave, and himself, of course, to try to push the tower as much as possible. And like I said last game, it's one of the really good things that Complexity does is they pressure towers. Like, how often has the creep wave been top towards a tier 2 tower? This means that now Phantom Lancer has to go here instead of potentially gank farming, like killing a hero and then pushing the wave out. It just splits up Fnatic and allows them to get those chances where they do go for kills.
Okay, so KYXY has his first Blade of Alacrity coming out. Curious if this is just a Yasha for some more farming, or if he'll go straight into that Diffusal Blade and look to get a little more combative here. PL doesn't really want to start fighting until he has both Diffusal and Manta. That's when you can pop in and burst somebody down.
You don't really need the Manta with new PL, and the old PL I would agree, but not so much with fight.
Fly just gets blown up here in the Radiant jungle. The ultimate from Zeus. More than enough to finish him off. Moon nearby. Will hide behind the tower here, and they may try to dive him.
He had a cloak there, but he still got blown up. And an Urn slots HP, and Moon's in trouble.
Oh, yeah, they find him. They're going to dive in. He gets down the wall, Replica. He'll do what little he can. Vacuum onto Ohio to make an illusion, but all by his lonesome, he will be taken out. So a 2-0 going in favor of Fnatic. But, yeah, what was that about the PL?
Yeah, I don't think he needs Manta Style to be useful. I think Diffusal Blade route, he is going Yasha first. Okay. But I think a full Manta first is a mistake. He can remove himself from Searing Change is one thing, but he can also prevent that with Doppelganger. Yeah. So I'm not sure if Manta is really that build. If there was an Orchid on Klinks, you could go either Diffusal or Manta to remove that. So I'm not sure. I think Yasha into Diffusal Blade is pretty much the standard build to keep your farming speed big while still remaining relevant in team fights, and then afterwards he can decide if he wants to make the full Manta. I think that's the better build, personally. Yeah,
I agree, and that is definitely the most common. So, time will tell. Medallion out on the Dazzle here, so that's one medallion apiece. Swindle to get on that top tier 1 tower, and he is closing in on this Battle Fury. He's got Broad Perseverance and 700 gold, so not too far away. Dire side, how's the item progression there? It's Yule's Scepter on Mushi since he picked up the Hand of Midas, and not too much else besides that Yasha we've talked about already.
The support's obviously really lacking some items because even the sentries they've placed, but they've absolutely paid dividends. And, you know, Johnny's actually decently farmed. Arcane Boots, Full Wand, Sage's Mask. Kasagimba has a lot of early items, Medallion and Urn of Shadows, both
he seems
really
decently
solid.
farmed, but relative to the supports on complexity, you've got Fly at 4.3k, and even this Naga at 3.3k net worth.
Yeah, that's the trade-off basically. They spent all the Sentry-Wards, they got Observer Ward Vision, and it got gold advantage right now. It is an actual advantage. The downside is that they don't have a huge amount of carry potential. It's basically just Mushi, who's a Zeus and very vulnerable to the cores of coL right now, and they've also got a PL who's going to take maybe another item before he gets online.
Oh, Echo Slammer on the backside, goes right on his Swindle, but Z-Freak, Song of the Siren to interrupt. Now Fly comes in, they'll set this up onto Ohio. Moon Meander does have a wall for Replicant, puts it down, Vacuum on 3, Ohio takes the Laguna Blade, but he's still alive, compliments of Soul Rift. The Tombstones come down, Ohio now gets graved up.
Ooh,
the ultimate from Zeus will do a lot of damage and secure the kill onto Swindle. They don't have their Clinks with him here, and he's a huge part of the complexity damage. I don't think they can take a fight like that without their Clinks inbound. Especially given that he has a Desolator now. Oh my.
And he was just right on top of Johnny, so he took 20% amp damage, and the Zeus just cut right through him. Like he used Flame Guard obviously, but it only did so much.
That's a nice little bit of synergy that we didn't talk about, but you're right, that Flesh Golem can really make this Zeus scary.
I believe Ziz was also not there for that fight, possibly without a TP scroll, so maybe a little bit presumptuous for Complexity to fight that, but at least they only lost one hero. They did use the song though, so cooldown for another 2 minutes after that duration, and the gem is the early pickup for Z-Freak.
Fly, he'll get caught out down in the bottom lane, Fissure to get it started, and Ohio gives him the old totem to the face. Not much Fly could do there, ends up being a 2-0 if you want to count that as one fight. 14-6, Fnatic winning in kills. You look at that, and it seems like they'd be winning this game handily, but Complexity still holding on to a very minor net worth lead, about to be a break even. So even though they haven't been killing or fighting as much, Complexity is still farming the map pretty effectively. Now,
Darkseer has picked up a hood, so I think that's one place where Complexity is going to be sitting a lot better, is when they do get the pipe. When they have the pipe, 400 extra HP for every hero, because you're going to take Zeus damage, you're going to take 400 points. It doesn't matter if he's targeting you, you're going to take Zeus ult and you're going to take that AoE. So if they do get the pipe off, and I think they will be able to, because they're going to have Song, they'll Song when the initiation starts, they'll pipe everybody up right before it ends, and then they will fight. And if they get that big HP advantage from a pipe, I think they'll be in an okay place. Because the Clink's hard counters a lot of Fnatic's heroes. Very good against Undying. Earthshaker's got a Ghost Scepter though, he's super farmed. So I think Clink's may have to go Diffusal Blade afterwards to counter that. Maybe not the item he wanted to, but unfortunately his Desolator's late enough, and the enemy heroes are doing well enough where it's necessary. God, actually Undying's really farmed. He's got almost a mech now. Very, very close.
Wow. Yeah, that last fight really helped him out.
Yeah, did a lot.
Money to burn.
Yep. Also the passive magic resistance from the pipe will help just in these team fights to negate some of the effects of the Flesh Golem and all that other magic damage. So it's a great pickup just across the board. Fnatic getting more aggressive here. 4 heroes rotating to the bottom lane to pressure that tier 2. Ketchikimba not with them right now. He'll be mid. Pardon me, it's 3 heroes in the bottom lane. He's still hanging out with KYXY here in the mid lane. The Diffusal Blade right around the corner here, Purge, and he went for that build. The Yasha right into Diffusal, and he's only a couple hundred gold away. So now this PL will start to be a threat in these fights. Ohio in the tree line. He'll just TP out. They want to defend this tier 2.
Strafe is used, pretty long cooldown on that one. KOXY is trying to stop it, but the tower's just gone. So he's actually going to try to fight
no, Ohio! He echoes before the blink! That is a misplay. They don't get Swindle because of it. That is... I think he just...
A very rare mistake from him.
Yeah, just a misclick.
Like, he's 4-0 and 10. This guy knows what he's doing, but unfortunately for him, he missed that. Saw a little bit too much adrenaline there, and they lose the Ember kill because of it. He definitely would have died there. He even dodged the Zeus ult, I think. Oh my god, he just killed those Ancients so hard.
That double damage, yeah, makes a difference.
But that was a pretty big mistake there.
Now Ketchikimba, he will get the grave. He'll TP home. Ziz.
Also TP.
Will TP home as well. That was a...
At first I was like, is he waiting to try to last hit him?
Yeah, me too. And then, okay.
No, that's what you got to do, because there's a lot of catch on Fnatic now with Zeus ult can find out where you are. Obviously it's on cooldown, but you know, if there's a blink on Earthshaker, you have to seriously consider the fact that you might be stunned for 3 seconds, and that often leads to a kill.
Much different build from Fly this game. We've seen him play a lot of Lina so far today. And first game, he's picked up a Glimmer Cape this early on. But Complexity do highly prioritize Glimmer Cape as one of their support items, and in this particular match, no one else has been going for it. There could be something Naga gets eventually, but she does not have much farm priority here.
It's a great anti-Zeus item. I mean, if he was having a really good early game, I'm sure he still would have gone Yules, but this is probably his fallback build if things aren't going amazing. And he's still got a ridiculous amount of farm, and he actually farms so much as a support. He's actually got a ridiculous amount of farm for a support, so he's still relevant, but he hasn't been able to get kills out of that as well, unlike the previous games we saw him today.
Yeah, definitely that more defensive build, but certainly warranted. Also, the pipe completed on Moon, so things get a lot easier for Complexity. They'll have a minor window of opportunity here where they'll have pipe and mech before Fnatic finish up their mech, unless it's completed on the Courier. Nope, that's the beginning of Mushi's Ags. Never mind, it's the conclusion of Mushi's Ags. He's already got the Staff of Wizardry and the Ogre Club. So.
A bit interesting to see him go Ags first. The general consensus is that going Ags is a mistake over Refresher, because Ags increases your damage by about 100, whereas Refresher increases your damage by 100% because you're getting double the ult. But you have to go the Bloodstone first build to do that because you don't have the mana. Otherwise, he maybe could have done it with the Yules and the Arcane Boots, but instead he opts for Ags, gives him bigger burst damage with less committal to using all of his mana pool, which is kind of a cool trade-off.
Yeah. If you get the Ags and then use the ult basically every time it's up, you can maximize the DPS, so it's a little more than the Refresher, but the real value of the Refresher is the burst. You can take the whole team down to half health before a fight starts in the middle of it. So it is about trade-offs, but you're absolutely right. Everyone that I've talked to has said, yeah, Ags just feels a little bit underwhelming when it's all said and done.
On the bright side, they might go on Moon Meander here. On the bright side with this build is that immediately after he gets Ags, he can now get Refresher, and then his ult combo does way more than the previous does, because then it would do up to 640, double that up to 1200 AoE magic damage to every enemy hero. That's so strong.
Even with a pipe on the entire team, it still just obliterates it and still does huge amounts of damage. So Tier 2 up top was taken out in that fight prior, so Swindle will just kind of poke at the high ground here, see if he can pull some reactions back. KYXY will be the one that rotates, while the rest of Fnatic are all grouped up in the Radiant jungle. Yeah, they're thinking about having a go here. Ohio in a great position, just hiding in the tree line, hoping that someone from Complexity may come near the creep wave so he can set up with a good echo.
They're going to find each other, though. Fly finds Mushi. Here comes the stun. Ulti as well. It's getting him low. Is he going to get that solo kill that he always wants? Fissure is going to come down. Tombstone as well. That's it. Vacuum gets it on Darkseer. Great pick from Fly there.
Beautifully done. Great setup.
Value, man. 5 seconds of invis and you set up on the enemy core and get that kill. That's exactly what Fly's used to doing, and he does that so consistently. Always killing a core as a support, and boom, he's up to 1600 gold. Now he may be able to transition back into Ags.
Yeah, and they also get the Tombstone kill as well for some of that extra gold. With Zeus dead, they'll feel very safe moving into the Roche pit, but they use that Medallion Deso, and the big boy's going down quick. This should be a nice, easy Aegis. Probably going to Ziz, though. Yeah, I think it'll go to Ziz, though he does have his BKB coming out pretty soon.
It looks like it because he's in the pit and Ember's not moving.
I would have thought it would go to the Ember. Yeah. Okay, they get the Clinks.
With the same point said, if Clinks doesn't have his ultimate activated, might be Ember.
Swindle in a little bit deep. Yeah, the Echo Slam sets it up. Ember just from full to zero in the blink of an eye. Moon comes in, tries to mech pipe, but actually doesn't get there in time. I don't think either buff connected.
Oh, really? Okay. I was going to say, like, I thought maybe...
It's hard to say. He died really fast. He had the Flame Guard on as well, so like the Echo came out, and it looked like he didn't do any damage, and then all the Echoes happened, and he just dropped. So
it was a good attempt, because if he lived with even 1 HP, he immediately presses his R button, and he flies out of there and ends up surviving. So good attempt by Moon. A little dangerous, but I think it was worth it in that circumstance, because all you got to do is help him survive the burst, and he's alive.
Also good execution from Fnatic to just know that they have to burst him down from full to zero and not let him get away there. Now we'll see this Earthshaker move into the Shadow Blade, so more mobility there, and also we'll let him do some more damage. We've already seen how much these totems hurt. Now adding that Lothar backstab to it makes it hurt that much more.
He is so farmed. He is actually so farmed.
Yeah.
His net worth is probably ridiculous. It's actually not that high. I'm so surprised. But he has so many items for an Earthshaker. It's incredible. BKB is up on Clinks now, so he doesn't have to worry about the Earthshaker anymore. He doesn't have to worry about the Zeus, as long as he doesn't get chain stun first. So that's probably why they got the Aegis, because if his ultimate's not up, his HP is quite low. And if he doesn't get his BKB off first, then he is just no use to the team fight. Ember has slightly more survivability skills.
Yeah, Ember now picking up his Crystallis, so more damage for him. And yeah, BKB on Clinks.
He might run into the entire enemy team.
Oh, the smoke. Ohio in the front lines will get broken.
Tank that
Fnatic will just retreat. Yeah, that's it. Guardian Greaves come out from Moon.
gem. He spots Ohio. He should realize he's running after him. This is dangerous. Okay. Check the items. I was like, oh, he's got a gem. This is stupid.
Yeah, and that's Johnny's gem. So it's a gem apiece right now. Fly again, rotating his build, doing something completely different. He's got the soul booster. I imagine that's a bloodstone, but I'm not sure. Maybe he's just going to rush the core.
I mean, Octarine's kind of good here. He could use it with his Glimmer Cape. It'd lower the cooldown by a pretty large amount. He would have 5 seconds uptime with 7 seconds downtime.
It's pretty good.
But I think it's probably Bloodstone because he doesn't have any mana regen items other than the urn, and he's going to lack on that. And he did disassemble his Boots of Speed, or his his Arcane Boots, excuse me, to make this. So he really needs a mana regen item, and he farms so much anyways. He didn't go the Yules. I think you're right. It's going to be a Bloodstone almost for sure, just to guarantee his mana regen. Plus, as a support, it's pretty cool to be able to commit suicide every 6 minutes if you're in a death position, which is fairly often. So, and he can heal his team. That's another cool thing. There's actually a lot of really good implications for a support managing to farm a Bloodstone. I actually think it's a really good choice here.
Yeah, the heal is one of those often forgot about pieces of the item that makes it really powerful. Power goes down to the bottom lane. Ohio goes in, but the Echo, it's whiffed. His Swindle goes right into sight. Now the ultimate from Zeus comes out, but it's Complexity that are doing the damage here. Ohio gets a grip, but he'll get caught by the ensnare and brought down as Moon gives him the punch. Now catching Imbo without a grave, in some trouble. He will have a Ghost Scepter, but it just makes the Lina do that much more damage. Already a 3-for-0. KYXY caught by Searing Chains. Make it 4 as Complexity erupt with some momentum here. They'll get 2 towers out of this as the Guardian Greaves come from Moon Meander. And Fnatic losing a lot out of that fight. It's a 4K net worth swing.
There's a little bit too much hesitation on Earthshaker there. He fissured, he popped his Soul Ring, and then he went for the Echo Slam. And at that point, the Sleight of Fist came out and he dodged the Echo Slam. And then no chain stun, Swindle Melons doesn't die.
This is scary for Fnatic.
They could actually just get Raxed here at 32 minutes. Not a good place for
KYXY. Even when the Earthshaker comes up, they know he doesn't have an Echo Slam, and that's their big defensive tool. Similarly, they know the Thunder God's Wrath is down. 2-3 tower falls, and Barracks turning into rubble as Complexity continues on this momentous streak. They'll leave the ranged Barracks standing, but they get the melee, and they get out of there scot-free, not conceding a single death in that fight as Ziz now completes the defusal. Good call on that one as well, Purge, given that they've got 3 Ghost Scepters now on the Dire side.
And the Bloodstone for Fly finish, that's flying out as well. So Complexity is in a commanding position here. You can't lose a team fight that badly, that close to your own base, because if you do, you don't even, like, you got buyback instantly with teamfight ultimates, or you lose the rack, especially get the Clinks with the Deso. The damage is just way too high, and even Ember Spirit builds a lot. So the Deso is going to build a lot of damage, so the Deso synergizes really well with that as well. They might get some of the melons, so Fissure first, here comes the enchantment totem, no Echo Sunfall, but it doesn't matter, the Zeus ult comes through, and with help from the Undying ult, he's able to get killed. But that was very, very razor edge.
Yep. And even though Undying has been farming reasonably well this game for a position 5, he still doesn't have the mech. Just a couple hundred gold away from the recipe, so he will get it soon. But
he was so close like 20 minutes ago.
He's just died too many times since then.
Well, seems more like he just hasn't gotten that much farm. Like,
that too.
Undying largely gets his gold from winning teamfights and ganks and stuff, and his farming ability is actually very weak. It's pretty much Tombstone or nothing. You don't want to use Tombstone to farm. So if you just, one of the ways to beat Undying in aggressive dueling is just don't die to him. And yeah, he'll get farm, but he's not going to snowball obscenely out of control. So that seems to be just what Complexity did. They're just ignoring the Undying in a lot of ways, and he hasn't been able to farm that much because of his poor skills for that, and he just doesn't have a mech yet.
So, down bottom, little fight breaking out perhaps. Nope,
just messing.
Just Moon and KYXY doing the dance around each other here. KYXY did have to put back on that last fight as well, and they still weren't able to hold the Barracks, so that was that did put a decent dent into his income. He still has not upgraded Manta, though he does have the gold for it. It could just be a casual Yasha, and he'll just go Scotty next.
It's possible. Scotty's really good build on Phantom Lancer because he's usually out-hitting anyway, so he can slow his opponents. Pretty good against Ember. As long as he doesn't have a Spirit setup, if you're slowing him, his speed on those coming out is very low. So I feel like Scotty is pretty good here, and kills Clinks as well. If he goes on top of Clinks, there's no way Clinks can ever get away, basically. Except for Invis.
Yeah, I like this style of build. It reminds me of what Mushi used to do on Medusa, where he would just go phase boots Yasha for his kind of movement pieces made, then go right into a Scotty. And you get the best of both worlds. You get that carry damage,
bottom.
all that, Swindle just, oof.
They're doing a great job ganking him. Like,
I mean, he's like taking all these echo slams, but they're just shutting him down left and right.
Definitely needed. Ziz is going mid though. Oh, he's going to get a courier 100%. Just sentries and wards, no big deal, but they might get a double kill out of this. There's the wall. Vacuum as well. Casimir just gets blown up.
Can't even grave. Oh no, now Ziz pops his BKB. Johnny's left high and dry on the high ground. Ohio comes in, but he has no ultimate here. Song of the Siren to reset things.
Oh, he could go on Mushi in a 1v1 here while they're split out.
All right, we'll zoom out here and see everything. Johnny definitely going to fall in this fight. Ohio takes the Laguna as well. Mushi, he'll survive off to the side. Still a fight going on in the back line. KYXY, he finishes off the Ember Spirit, but they find him indeed. Doppelganger buys him a couple of seconds here, but can't make it up to the high ground, and Moon will finish him off. Puts on those boxing gloves and finds a victory. It's a 1 for 4 if you count that Ember going down. Oh, he actually bought back, so he died twice there.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That makes more sense. So that was actually not a very big net worth swing for Complexity, but still, they clear up 4 on Fnatic, and Phantom Lancer's down for 80 seconds. He bought back in that last fight. It's still on cooldown.
He bought back and died again.
Phantom Lancer, he bought back at the bottom part. Yeah, it's been on cooldown from that last fight, so he's still out of the game for a whole minute.
That's pretty rough.
And they also don't have a glyph here, Purge. Oh no, this is bad for Fnatic.
And they can't stop this push with Pipe. Like, they did some damage to Moon Meander here, but the tower goes down. That's 2 towers now, completely worth it for Ember Spirit. Now Surge comes out, Tombstone down. They're trying to stop them. Their HP's getting low. They've got heal mech in about 2 seconds here. Yeah. BKB by Ziz as well, and he takes no damage from that.
Okay. Well, they hold their ranged barracks again, but Complexity should be pretty happy with that. They get out essentially scot-free, no additional casualties, and they get yet another melee barracks. Fnatic hanging in there, but their options getting more and more limited as Complexity now over a 15k net worth lead, nearly 7,500 experience.
And this is the story of them every game. Even if they're slightly behind, they'll play very, very safe, and they'll make their plays. They'll get some good map vision, really aggressive wards, and constantly pushing lanes and farming. Fly has 168 CS as a 4-position player. He's got a BOTs now. He just has luxury gold to be able to be like, you know what, I'm going to keep my wand. Like, how often do you get to do that as a support player?
Yeah, 12 Bloodstone charges. You look at this Undying, he finally gets his mech. That's progress for Johnny, but relative to these Radiant supports, it's just not that much. Looking at the Naga Siren even, she's got 2 gems. Working on a Glimmer, has the Glimmer Cape and now just right-clicks an entire Diffusal Blades. That's double Diffusal now for Complexity.
Like
they've got plenty of tools to deal with these Ghost Scepters.
It's good for a couple of reasons. First of all, like you said, remove Ghost Scepters. Is there any other buffs they can remove? They can maybe remove Weave from heroes. I'm not 100% on that. But it gives him another good chasing option as well. He doesn't have to rely on net or ensnare, that is, being blocked. He can just Diffusal Blade somebody, force an action, then react. Oh, Sunamelons might die again here.
Yeah, Ohio's inbound. He's got the Echo. It's going to connect on Moon, but
he gets
doesn't have Guardian Greaves. Oh, no. Moon will be the one that goes down, though Swindle does live.
Yeah, Ohio being slightly greedy on his combo there. He attacked between one of the stuns instead of going for the guaranteed stun. So Swindle gets out, they get the Darkseer. I don't know if they were going to grab both anyways, but
no,
one is still good.
Could have been, I think one still would have died, but the Guardian Greaves are on cooldown for that. Made it even more difficult.
And in the meantime, Fly's still getting last hits. Ziz is still getting last hits. And Z-Freak, I'm sure, was doing something as well because his HP is missing. So
yeah.
Fnatic gets a kill, but they're farming so often and in so many aggressive places that they're not able to get the kills fast enough.
Well, Scotty completed on KYXY, though the Clinks is on the verge of getting his Daedalus. KYXY in a forward position. Buyback's still on cooldown for about 20 seconds here. He's also short on gold. Fnatic need to be careful at this point. If they lose another team fight, this game will get very difficult. Roche is up. Could be something Complexity want to consider when their Darkseer comes back to life.
You know, I think the PL's actually not taking that much damage from the Ember Spirit, so he has the ability to win this game, but it's going to come down to Echo Slam, really. That's what Fnatic needs. Link Simka, yeah, because there would be a Butterfly eventually on the PL. It's the natural next item when you have this many stats. So, or a Manta, one of those two at this point would be great. But he can definitely win this game, but they're going to need a lot of them to be chain stunned, and preferably also Darkseer. If Darkseer doesn't get his pipe and his mech off, then his impact is much, much less. But if they do, then I don't think they have the damage to work through this until Mushi gets maybe a refresher or something. Because right now, his damage output is not what we normally see out of a Zeus. It's threatening, but it isn't game-winning.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to summarize it. He can still put out a lot, but they just don't have anyone who can finish off these kills. Complexity have too many different ways to disengage through the Surge, through all of their defensive items, and the Song of the Siren. Once they drop that first Zeus ult, where's the damage come from? I guess the PL, but
yeah, but
they have some ways to get away. Yeah.
They have Vacuum, they have Naga Sleep, they have Lina Stun and Dragon Slide. Find the right one. Yep. It's difficult. Blink Dagger now and Fly. It helps his split push even more. Lower chance that he dies, and he can dodge some spells too.
And now that Clink's, now that they have 2 defusals, really, Dazzle's life gets a lot more difficult. I feel like Clinks can start off these fights by just looking for the Dazzle, isolating him, and forcing him to either grave himself or just die. Either way, that's a victory for Complexity.
Yeah, or Z-Freak can just find the Dazzle and keep him segmented by either netting him or just defusal blading him. If he's just limited on movement speed, he may not be in the grave position as well.
That's a good point.
And all these illusions now have defusal blades, so they can do up to 25 mana burn. Not amazing for... Oh, they're going in.
Here we go. Wall vacuum on 2. Catchy Kimba dies before he can grave. Johnny will mech, but I don't think that's going to do too much to keep him alive. Certainly not. Swindle gets a crit and finishes him off in stunning fashion.
It really seems like Dazzle's worthless this game, honestly. Like, how many times has he just gotten... He keeps...
Z-Freak gets a 3rd gem.
A 3rd gem?
He's getting 3 of them. This guy's tricked out, man.
He actually does have so many gems. They're just shutting down the Dazzle, and they're killing him in the first bit of time. Like, it's their organization. That's how you beat Dazzle, is having good teamwork. You have to focus the right people, and you have to initiate properly. And they've got enough Blink Daggers for it that they can always do a vacuum into Lina Stun. And at that point, you've got kills. This guy is so farmed on our Shaker.
Whoa. Aghanim Scepter. Not an item you get to see picked up on Earthshaker too often.
So every hero that gets hit by the Echo increases the Echo by 140 damage. So
Z-Freak needs to be careful with his illusions. That's,
yes, because it counts for every illusion now. They buffed that recently.
Yep.
So for every hero that gets hit, they're taking at least 410 magic damage. Every hero additional to that, an extra 140 that everyone takes. So if you do like a 3-man dunk, you're talking about like AoE 1000 damage before you even do Aftershock, Enchant, Totem, or Fissure. So again, the team fight is here. Ohio's done great this game. They just need to find a grouped Complexity. It happened once in the last game versus C9. Will it happen again? Because if so, Fnatic can turn things around and potentially win this game.
That's true. Though for Fnatic, their positioning needs to be spot on as well. Double Battle Fury now for Swindle Melon, so if they're not spread apart properly, they could just get crippled by a big Daedalus crit in the team fight. So positioning, always important at this stage in the game, now 40 minutes plus, but I feel like in this matchup, it's particularly important. It's the make it or break it for both these teams.
Yeah, I agree entirely. Ember Spirit even maybe should pick up a... I don't know if BKB is the solution. Maybe just more HP would be better, because their disable is a bit lacking, so he's actually going to find KYXY mid here, and they're fighting him. I can't believe he's here. Clinks is just blowing him up. Wow. I guess he wanted to try for the solo kill. I mean, he can defuse the blade off the Flame Guard.
He just died so fast, though.
There was no way that was going to work. I feel like that was just a complete mistake from KOX. Maybe he read the map wrong and thought he was going to be solo, but even then, I don't see him killing him that much.
Now, he does have a buyback available, though, so... of course that hurts, but they will have one more chance to make another hole. Refresher on Zeus. Big item there.
He's got it now.
Yeah, there it is.
To buy all these other items, the Yules, the Goat, the Blink, just to deal with the Clinks. Zeus is just not a good hero to have against
Backdoor protection's been broken. Ziz goes in, pops the BKB. Ohio pops forward, but...
Oh, he's used it already.
Yeah, he hasn't used his ultimate yet. Ohio will be able to live through that initial bout of damage. Johnny just barely lives. Now they turn on to Ziz. Undying does end up falling. Ziz survives. Guardian Greaves are popped, as is the Song of the Siren. So they get one kill on the Undying, they force the buyback on the PL, and now Complexity to disengage. Oh, the Echo Slam on Swindle.
Whoa, he just died.
Blows him up, but he has got the Aegis of the Immortal. I don't know if that was worth the Echo Slam. Now it's on cooldown for Quelson Wild. Swindle will come back to life, but where's his team? He makes it up to the high ground just barely.
He has been ditched.
Okay.
He actually died so fast there. I dare say he needs an armor item almost, because just the medallion alone drops his armor to like 5.
Yeah.
And then PL's hitting him for about 230 apiece. That only takes a couple hits and he dies.
Absolutely.
And he gets the mana burn too.
Decent hold for Fnatic though. The problem is PL buyback is now on cooldown, so if they can just manage to kill KYXY one more time, this hold for Fnatic becomes exceptionally difficult. Still 70 seconds before the Echo.
Moon's got his heal and support items up. It's about 800 away from a Hex. And Lina approaching. Blink, Ags, Bloodstone. God, this guy farms.
He really does.
Is in trouble. He's got BKB, but they initiate it first. He pops it in time.
Oh, what a vacuum into the wall. Johnny tries to mech through it. KYXY in the front line. Down comes the Tombstone, but Moon Meander in the front here for complexity. They're doing some decent damage. One ult from Mushi doing some work. The Grave onto KYXY. He needs to be so careful here. They get the kill onto Clinks, but at what cost? Swindle looking for another slight. Can't quite get it. Forced to jump defensively. Buyback now on Ziz. He does not have BOT, so he's got to walk across the map to get back in here. The tier 3 towers fall. They've lost Undying. Ohio's gone in deep with the Grave just at the last second. KYXY low on HP as he pops out of the base. They're trying to turn on him. They get it with the slight. Oh my.
Saw that one coming, man.
Looking bad for Fnatic. 3 in the Grave, no buyback, and I think Complexity have done it in game 1 here, Perch.
Gets the game by here, just gonna get right-click down. He doesn't even have Grave mana, so he ends up going, and she is low as well, and they've done it. That's Mega Creeps. Almost nothing Fnatic can do to defend. They had such a good defense there. Kept weaving in and out, picking off the low HP heroes, but yeah, that seems to be it.
They did surprisingly well with that last hold. If that PL had another buyback, maybe, just maybe, they could have held that off and extended the game a little bit longer, but it wasn't just that last fight. Complexity were in control for this entire game. You look at the gold graph, it ends with a 30k net worth lead, but there was never a point in this game when Fnatic was truly ahead. The game, they were on even footing, but they never really pulled away with much momentum.
I mean, they won those first couple early mid-fights when they had, like, Undying, Zeus, all of that advantage, but once they got to the part where their items were really integral, I feel like the item choices on Mushi just set them too far behind. Like, he got that. Did you ever feel like he did that much this game? Like, obviously he had a huge impact in the laning stage, got tons of kills, but he translated into a Midas, and he eventually got the Ags with the refresher. But just imagine if he had more HP, if he dodged a couple ganks from Clinks,